What if the rules you were taught in school, gravity, chemistry, time, were only a fragment of the truth? What if, beyond the physical senses, there existed a deeper architecture, an invisible code humming beneath all of existence? Imagine this. You're not simply living in a material world. You're swimming, breathing, thinking, moving, inside a vast, intelligent field of vibration. Every thought you have, every object you touch, every emotion you feel, all of it is energy vibrating. For centuries, only a handful of initiates dared speak of it. The knowledge was not hidden by accident. It was concealed, protected. Because to understand it was to wield power. Power over one's mind. Power over one's reality. Power over the illusions of time, space, and form. This sacred knowledge was first whispered in the temples of ancient Kemet, then echoed through the mystery schools of Greece, and finally etched into a mystical book published anonymously in 1908, the Kybalion. Its authors, known only as the Three Initiates. Its message? That the universe is not chaos, but consciousness. That reality is not fixed, but fluid. That behind all appearances, there are 7 Hermetic Principles, spiritual laws that govern all things, seen and unseen. These are not passive suggestions. They are active forces. They shape the rise and fall of civilizations, the cycles of the cosmos, and the intimate mechanics of your personal life. And today we will decode them. From the ancient law of mentalism to the profound law of gender, we will explore each principle not just as abstract philosophy, but as living wisdom you can use. We'll bridge the old with the new, fusing Hermetic thought with modern science, quantum theory, and inner alchemy. This is not a lecture. It is an initiation. So silence your distractions. Open your inner eye, because what you're about to discover may forever alter how you see the world and yourself. Welcome to Esoteric Glyph, where forgotten truths are remembered and secret laws are brought to light. The origin and sacred legacy of the 7 Hermetic laws. Long before modern science emerged, before the advent of religions as we know them, there existed a lineage of spiritual wisdom passed down through whispers, veiled in allegory, wrapped in symbolism, guarded by those called initiates. At the heart of this lineage stood one figure, Hermes Trismegistus. Known to the ancient Egyptians as Thoth, and to the Greeks as Hermes, this enigmatic sage was said to be the embodiment of universal wisdom. A master of alchemy, astrology, magic, and metaphysics, Hermes was called thrice great, because he had mastered the 3 great domains of existence: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. It is from his teachings that the sacred text the Kybalion was born. But this was not just a book, it was a cipher, a transmission. A distilled essence of timeless truths once shared only in the innermost chambers of mystery schools. Its teachings are Hermetic, derived from Hermeticism, a school of esoteric thought that emerged in Alexandria during the early centuries AD, yet whose roots stretch back to the pyramids, ziggurats, and oracles of the ancient world. So why did these truths disappear from common knowledge? Because knowledge is power, and power in the wrong hands can destroy worlds. These principles were not meant for the profane or the unready. They were reserved for those whose minds were awakened, who could wield understanding with wisdom and humility. Throughout history, these teachings hid in plain sight, in the writings of Plato, in Gnostic scriptures, in medieval alchemical manuscripts, and even encoded in religious texts and architecture. They were preserved in silence, protected by secret orders, and often disguised as myth or metaphor. Even during the Renaissance, when Western civilization rediscovered Hermetic writings, they were met with fear and censorship. The church labeled them heretical. Scholars ignored them. And yet, behind closed doors, great thinkers like Giordano Bruno, Isaac Newton, and Carl Jung studied them with reverence. Fast forward to the early 20th century. A mysterious book appears, the Kybalion, authored by the elusive 3 Initiates. Some speculate it was penned by occultist William Walker Atkinson. Others say it was dictated through spirit communication from higher realms. Regardless of its earthly origin, its message resonates like a thunderclap across dimensions. The Kybalion outlines 7 universal laws. Not moral rules, but metaphysical mechanics, codes of existence itself. They explain how thought becomes matter, how opposites are connected, how vibration creates form, and how spirit and mind shape all that is. To study these laws is to step beyond religion, beyond dogma, beyond scientific reductionism. It is to step into the role of co-creator, awakening from the dream of separation and into the realization that the universe is mind, and you are not merely in it, you are it. In Hermeticism, these laws are not beliefs. They are as real as gravity, only subtler, more profound, more foundational. They govern the soul's journey across lifetimes. They govern energy, transformation, and manifestation. In ignoring them, we suffer. In aligning with them, we transcend. And now, as consciousness on Earth begins to rise again, as the veils thin and the mysteries resurface, these ancient principles call to a new generation of seekers, perhaps including you. In the next segment, we begin our deep dive into the first of these sacred laws, the principle of mentalism. But as we do, remember, this is not just information, it is initiation. The first three laws, mentalism, correspondence, and vibration. In the grand tapestry of Hermeticism, the universe is not a random sequence of events. It is mind structured by laws, alive with intelligence. And to grasp the nature of reality, one must first understand the laws that silently shape it. We begin with the foundation upon which all others rest. 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. This is the first law, and perhaps the most staggering. It tells us that the universe is not a machine. It is not inert matter floating in a void. It is consciousness, dreaming itself into form. The Kybalion uses the term, the all, to describe the infinite source, limitless, formless, eternal. But unlike the cold, distant God of theology, the all is not separated from its creation. The all is creation. All that exists is a manifestation of this infinite mind. And this means you, your thoughts, your life, your experiences, are not accidents. You are a thought within the mind of the divine. Consider this. A painter visualizes a masterpiece before ever touching the canvas. The idea exists in the mental realm before it becomes color and form. So too does the universe begin in the mind of the all. This principle reveals that everything is mental in origin. To change your world, you must change your mind. This isn't just self-help, it's metaphysical law. Every belief you hold is a blueprint. Every thought is a brushstroke in the reality you inhabit. Mentalism is the basis of all magic, prayer, and manifestation. It affirms that you are not just an observer. You are a participant in the creation of the cosmos. 2. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above. This ancient axiom is the key to unlocking the hidden symmetry between worlds. It means that all planes of reality, physical, mental, spiritual, are reflections of each other. What happens in one is echoed in another. The movement of the stars mirrors the movement of your thoughts. The structure of atoms reflects the design of galaxies. Your internal world is not disconnected from the external world, it shapes it. Look into a drop of water, and you find the ocean. Examine your soul, and you find the divine. This law is why sacred geometry exists. It's why ancient temples were built to mirror celestial patterns. It's why your breath mirrors the tides, and your heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the earth. In practical terms, the principle of correspondence teaches that if you want to understand something large and abstract, look at the microcosm. To change the world around you, begin by changing the world within you. 3. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This law dismantles the illusion of stillness. What you perceive as solid, fixed, and unmoving, your body, your desk, even mountains, are actually collections of vibrating energy, dancing at specific frequencies. From ancient mystics to quantum physicists, the truth is clear. Everything is in motion. In Hermetic thought, vibration is not just a physical property. It is a bridge between worlds. A low vibration may manifest as fear, illness, or chaos. A high vibration brings clarity, joy, and spiritual insight. Even your thoughts vibrate. Your emotions vibrate. They radiate frequencies that ripple through the invisible field around you. And like attracts like, this is how your inner world magnetizes your outer experience. The sound OM in Vedic tradition is not just a chant. It is the original vibration of the universe, the resonance of existence itself. The Egyptians, too, encoded vibration into ritual and architecture, using sacred chants and harmonics to elevate consciousness. Modern science echoes these truths. Quantum physics shows that atoms are not stable bits of matter, but pulsating packets of energy. Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared proves that matter and energy are interchangeable. That matter is energy vibrating at a particular rate. So what does this mean for you? It means you're not stuck. You're not static. You are frequency, and frequency can be raised. Your thoughts, tune them. Your emotions, align them. Your being, harmonize it. To live by the law of vibration is to take responsibility for your inner resonance, and by extension, your outer reality. Underscore 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 underscore. These first three laws, mentalism, correspondence, and vibration, are the scaffolding of the invisible universe. They reveal that reality is not what it appears to be, and that you hold more power than you've been taught to believe. But there is more. In the next chapter, we explore the paradoxes of polarity, the flow of rhythm, the inevitability of cause and effect, and the sacred dance of gender, the remaining keys that unlock the full architecture of Hermetic reality. The remaining four laws, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. As we venture deeper into the Hermetic model of reality, we begin to see that what we call opposites, chaos, or even coincidence, are not what they seem. Beneath their appearance lies order. Beneath the illusion law. Let us now decode the remaining four principles that govern both the cosmos and the self. 4. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. What if love and hate were not opposites, but extremes of the same energy? What if heat and cold were not two different things, but different degrees of temperature? This principle teaches that all truths are half-truths, that every concept contains its counterpart. Light and dark, good and evil, spirit and matter, each are two ends of a single spectrum. Opposites are not enemies. They are reflections. The more you push against one, the more you invoke the other. To understand this law is to become an alchemist of the soul. You learn that you can transmute one state into another, fear into courage, confusion into clarity, pain into wisdom, simply by shifting your position along the vibrational spectrum. This is the secret of balance. It is why ancient mystics sought not perfection, but equilibrium. 5. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. Look at the moon, the ocean, your breath, your emotions. All follow a rhythm, an ebb and a flow, a rise and a retreat. This law governs the cycles of life, birth and death, growth and decay, inspiration and apathy, fortune and hardship. Nothing remains in a fixed state forever. To resist rhythm is to suffer. To ride it is to master life itself. The wise do not fear the lows, for they know the highs will return. And when the tide is high, they prepare. They understand that progress is not linear, it is spiral, and in each loop of the spiral, a lesson awaits. This principle teaches emotional intelligence on a cosmic scale. It says, feel your seasons, honor your cycles, learn when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to be silent. Everything has its time, its motion, its pulse. 6. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Nothing happens by chance. No leaf falls without a reason. No thought enters your mind without a preceding cause. This principle reminds us, you are not a victim of circumstance. You are the cause of your life. Your choices ripple outward into the quantum field. Your words create waves. Your beliefs attract outcomes. Every action you take is a seed, and every seed will bloom, sooner or later. This law also applies to the spiritual realms. The energy you send, whether love or malice, returns to you. This is karma redefined, not as punishment or reward, but as universal law. The Hermetic initiate learns to live with precision and awareness. No longer reactive, no longer adrift, but centered, aware, intentional. By becoming a master of cause, you cease being a pawn of effect. 7. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. This is not about biology. It is about metaphysical polarity. Masculine energy is active, assertive, projective. Feminine energy is receptive, nurturing, intuitive. Everything in the universe is a dance between these two forces. The sun and the moon, fire and water, logic and emotion, thought and form. Within you exists both. When you speak, you project. When you listen, you receive. When these energies are out of balance, your inner world suffers. Creativity becomes blocked, relationships become distorted, and manifestation falters. The key is union, the sacred marriage of masculine and feminine within the self. In alchemy, this is called the hieros gamos, the inner wedding. It is when thought, masculine, unites with emotion, feminine, to give birth to action, when logic and intuition are no longer at odds, but work in harmony. This principle governs all creation, because without polarity, there is no spark, and without union, there is no life. These final four laws reveal the divine mechanisms that hold the universe in balance. Together with the first three, they form a complete cosmology, one that maps both the outer universe and the inner soul. And yet, knowledge alone is not enough. For the Hermetic path is not just about knowing, but becoming. In the next segment, we will explore how to apply these sacred principles in real life, how to align your vibration, master your rhythm, transmute your polarity, and create with intention. Becoming the alchemist, using the 7 Hermetic laws in daily life. It's one thing to read about universal truths. It's another to live them. Hermetic philosophy was never meant to remain in books or temples. It was meant to be embodied, to shape your thoughts, your actions, your energy, to awaken the God within. So how do you apply these 7 laws in your everyday life? Let's break it down. Mentalism, reprogram your reality. Everything begins in the mind. To change your world, change your thoughts. Start each day by intentionally programming your consciousness. Affirm, I am the thinker of the thought. I create my reality. Visualize what you want, not what you fear. Catch negative spirals early and shift them. Meditation, journaling, and conscious breath work help you stabilize your mental field. As your mind clears, reality becomes more malleable. Correspondence, recognize the patterns. Practice pattern recognition. What you see around you mirrors what's within you. If your relationships are chaotic, ask, where am I at war with myself? If you feel stuck externally, ask, what internal belief needs to move? The outer is the echo. The inner is the cause. Use dreams, synchronicities, and emotional triggers as feedback. Everything speaks if you listen. Vibration, master your frequency. Your emotional state is your broadcast. Feeling anxious? Shift your frequency with music, breath, or movement. I want to attract love, peace, wealth? Embody the vibe of those things before they arrive. The Hermetic adept becomes a tuner, constantly adjusting their inner frequency to match what they wish to manifest. Remember, high vibration doesn't mean always happy. It means authentic, aware, and in motion. Polarity, transmute emotion and perception. When you're in a negative state, don't suppress it, alchemize it. Feel deep fear? Invoke courage. It's the same energy, different end of the pole. Drowning in apathy? Call in desire. It too lives on the same spectrum. Ask yourself, what is the opposite of what I'm feeling? Then take small, conscious steps toward that end. This is mental transmutation, the true work of a modern magician. Rhythm, flow with the universal tide. Track your cycles. Learn your highs and lows. Sync with lunar phases, hormonal rhythms, even creative cycles. On high energy days, create, act, initiate. On low energy days, rest, reflect, receive. Don't fight the tide, surf it. When you're in rhythm, life feels effortless. Cause and effect, choose, don't react. Become cause, not effect. Before you act, ask, what ripple will this create? Before you speak, ask, what world am I reinforcing with these words? Live with intention. You're always creating, even in your silence. Nothing is just happening. You're either acting or being acted upon. Gender, harmonize your inner duality. Within you lies the masculine, structure, action, logic, and the feminine, intuition, receptivity, fluidity. Too rigid? Invite more softness. Too passive? Step into assertiveness. Creative action is born when you unite the two. When an idea, feminine, becomes a plan, masculine, and then reality. Seek balance, not dominance. In harmony, you become a whole being. To apply the Kybalion is to become a conscious creator. It's not about being perfect, but about being present. Not about escaping the world, but mastering your experience within it. The more you apply these laws, the more your life aligns, your energy stabilizes, and your spiritual power awakens. This is the path of the Hermetic initiate, not a belief system, but a technology of consciousness. And in a world lost in distraction, to walk this path is revolutionary. Why the Kybalion still matters in the 21st century and beyond. We live in an age of information overload. Data is abundant, but wisdom? Rare. Truth feels subjective. Reality is questioned. And amidst the chaos of algorithms, AI, consumerism, and spiritual confusion, the Kybalion quietly endures, like a lighthouse through the fog. But why? Why do teachings from ancient Egypt, reborn in the early 1900s, still strike such a deep chord in the digital age? Let's explore. 1. Quantum physics echoes Hermeticism. Modern science has finally caught up to ancient metaphysics. Mentalism. Today, physicists acknowledge the observer effect, the idea that consciousness affects reality. Vibration. Quantum fields show that everything is made of energy in motion. Correspondence. Fractal geometry and holographic theories echo the Hermetic idea. As above, so below. Science is discovering that reality is not solid, but informed by consciousness. Hermes knew this long before equations proved it. 2. Psychology is built on these laws. Carl Jung, one of the founding fathers of modern psychology, was deeply influenced by Hermetic thought. The law of polarity explains the shadow self. Cause and effect speaks to unconscious programming. Gender helps us understand the anima and animus within. Therapists today speak of inner alchemy, mental reframing, and somatic vibration, not realizing they are echoing ancient laws masked in modern language. 3. In the age of AI, we must reclaim inner power. As technology advances, so does external control. People are losing connection with their inner world, scrolling instead of reflecting, consuming instead of creating, reacting instead of choosing. Hermetic wisdom recenters the soul. It reminds us, you are not a cog. You are a creator. It teaches discernment, mental discipline, conscious choice. These are superpowers in a world of distraction. 4. It aligns with the rise of consciousness movements. From New Age spirituality to trauma healing, from the law of attraction to sacred plant medicine, modern seekers are waking up. They speak of vibration, mindset, integration, alignment, and soul contracts. All of these ideas live within Hermeticism. The Kybalion is the philosophical root from which many modern spiritual branches grow. 5. Religion is declining, spirituality is rising. As institutional religion loses its grip, more people seek direct experience over doctrine. Hermeticism doesn't ask you to worship, it asks you to know. It's not about blind faith, but conscious alignment. No dogma, no savior complex, just universal law. In this, the Kybalion becomes a spiritual compass, simple, profound, and universally accessible. 6. In a divided world, it heals the split. We're taught to think in opposites: science versus spirituality, logic versus feeling, masculine versus feminine. Hermeticism bridges the duality. It shows us that opposites are two poles of one truth, that unity isn't sameness, it's synergy. In a time of division, this perspective is revolutionary. So here's the truth. The Kybalion isn't just relevant, it's essential. It's a survival manual for the soul, a blueprint for conscious living, a toolkit for navigating chaos without losing your center. And as humanity moves deeper into the age of Aquarius, a time of radical awakening and energetic realignment, these teachings are no longer optional. They are vital. You don't have to be a mystic. You don't have to wear robes or chant in ancient tongues. You only need one thing: a sincere desire to know. And if you've made it this far, you already have that. The hidden path is now revealed, but will you walk it? You've just decoded one of the most powerful esoteric texts in human history. The Kybalion is not merely a book, it's a portal. A whisper from ancient adepts, calling you back to a forgotten truth. You are not just in the universe. The universe is within you. These 7 Hermetic laws are not abstract concepts. They are blueprints of reality. They shape everything: your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, your manifestations, your spiritual evolution. To study them is to awaken. To live them is to transcend. But here's the secret few will ever realize. The Kybalion doesn't just explain how the universe works. It reveals how you work, your mind, your soul, your divine spark. Because to master these laws is to become the lawgiver of your own life, a conscious creator, a spiritual scientist, a living bridge between the seen and unseen. You are the alchemist. You are no longer a passive reader. You are an initiate, a bearer of ancient wisdom in a modern world. Use mentalism to shape your thoughts. Apply correspondence to see the patterns. Elevate your vibration to change your experience. Transmute polarity to alchemize pain into power. Flow with rhythm to avoid burnout and resistance. Choose cause over effect to own your destiny. Balance gender within to birth new realities. The universe is your mirror. Your mind is the wand. The Kybalion is the spellbook. Now it's your turn to cast. The choice is yours. This knowledge is not meant to be worshipped, it's meant to be used. Most people will scroll past this. Many will forget it by tomorrow. But a few, the true seekers, will feel something ignite. A stirring, a remembering, a return. And if that's you, subscribe to Esoteric Glyph to walk this path further. We are decoding the mysteries, one glyph at a time. More teachings await, Hermetic, Atlantean, alchemical, mystical. Your journey doesn't end here. It begins. Like, comment, share this with fellow seekers. Let this message ripple through the matrix. And remember, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And when the soul awakens, the whole universe responds. This is Esoteric Glyph. Unlock the symbols. Live the truth. See you in the next transmission.